There. Okay, so that's live, which includes you guys over here. There. And you get Skyfall. The other people I don't know. And get your channel. Okay. And it's pointing at that. That's part 3. Okay. And yet it says okay, and there's that. Let me point that down. So that works. Let me put that down more. And that's set up. Yeah, okay, that's set. Hello, can you guys talk, say something?
Yeah.
Hey, okay,
Hello.
so that works. All right, so we got that part. Right, but I can't turn back toward me. It won't let me switch cameras. See? That's the bugger. It's like mute, unmute. Okay.
Well, fortunately, we know what you look like, so you're not going to be a mystery to us.
But if I want to say something to my flock,
I know what you're saying. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you're only half kidding. So Eli Apple. While I'm adjusting, does anybody have any theories they want to bounce back and forth, or maybe stuff that I haven't read yet as to what possibly happened?
The Raiders are trying to say it's a failed physical type of issue. I don't know for surely the extent of that and whatnot, but it was a 1-year deal. It wasn't. They were still looking for, they were still potentially trading for Darius Slay when they thought that deal, if they did, thought that deal was pretty good at that point. So, they're still out for a high-end corner, I would assume. They just got Randall as well. I don't know if you saw that from Cleveland, the former first-round pick from Arizona State.
Now, if they're getting all these defensive players, we got to assume 12 and 19, they're going after the receivers or the cornerbacks, right?
Well,
I mean,
maybe.
Go ahead, Zanny.
Maybe. I still am of the opinion that they need a defensive tackle, and they haven't really found the stud yet. They thought Maurice Hurst. This what happened was that when they got Maurice Hurst, that was when they were going on Las Vegas cheap, because I contend that they were facing their first realization they weren't going to get as much money from the pre-bond issue, pay-as-you-go money for the construction. They had to pull back because they were a good $20 million less than what they expected. And, it's like the Raiders for the first time were in a situation where the stadium finances were actually impacting the team. And what I mean by that, you say, wait a minute, isn't that always the case? They were building their own stadium, all right? And the Raiders have never built their own stadium in their entire history. And now here they are. So
yeah, not a lot of NFL teams. It's usually public money, right?
Well, I mean, when I say build a stadium, I mean like it's more of a technical term called Stadco. In other words, let me put it this way: they're not. How do I put it? They're not. The Raiders are not. I'll just point the camera at me if I want to. The Raiders are not, or have not been in the position in the past where they were managing the construction organization. This time they're Stadco. That's
on the driver's seat.
That's the legal definition of the Raiders, okay? And when you're Stadco, your funds go in two directions. They go to the team or the stadium. And in the past, and you could still have public money because they have public money in this case, all right? But the order of direction of the contracts is between Stadco, which is the Raiders, the Las Vegas Stadium Authority, and then Clark County, and representing the state of Nevada. And then, so Stadco has all relationship contracts with with the sponsors. So Stadco, being the Raiders, has a contract with Caesars, MGM, and so on. Okay, and yet I wonder if this would work better on Chrome. I wonder if that's the issue.
We're live right now, though, right?
Yeah, I won't mess with it.
Yeah,
we are. No, we're live. We're live on YouTube. We're live. See, look, we're live.
I would just keep going now and then play with it later on.
We're live on YouTube. See, ta-da!
We are.
All right, see, we're live on YouTube. We've got 4 viewers. I'm typing hello. We got a bunch of screens. We're screen. We're screen.
So many.
We're screen psychotic. Oh, this is crazy, man. Okay, Eli Apple, what the heck happened? No, anyway, I was just trying to say, as far as Jameis Winston and Cam Newton, I think these guys are being blackballed in some way because they're like the kind of black folks that folks don't want. Here's why. Here's what started me to think that. When Jameis Winston gave his last press conference and he made the comment that I should find it and play it, but I don't want to get a copyright issue. He cuts down the interceptions. He's the best ever. And he said it where he used a little street vernacular and it ran it on Twitter on these loops again and again and again. I thought it was insulting. And I thought, if you don't like, not you, anybody, I'm saying one doesn't like his style, just say you don't like his style. I got a call from a fellow who I think I'm going to keep that conversation private. But, I mean, I'll keep who it is private. But I will say what this person told me was that Jameis really prizes – he's from Bessemer, Alabama, okay? And he really prizes being from the South. And he really prizes Southern culture and his family. So you want to be close to his family. Like, for example, he's a 4.0 student. He was a 4.0 student, and Stanford recruited him. He didn't want to go to Stanford. I think David Shaw at Stanford would have been, the best thing for him. You know what I mean? But he didn't do it, and And so he decided to stay close. And I think there was a mistake myself, but I digress. There are people who hold that against her. Remember how Cam Newton came out and JB says but he didn't act like a 4.0 student. Well, what do you mean? I mean, I want to pick up on that because I was talking to my mom about how when I was little in school, I used to be beaten up because they said I talk white. And I remember when I was I was a census enumerator. I was in a course. It was in 1992. And there was this tall brother, who was the constructor. And, I said, and this was like the course had not went on for very long. And I said, a lady basically got lost and didn't know where we were. And I whispered to her where we were. And he just blew up and he just lost his temper. And he goes, "You talk too much." He was yelling. I'm thinking, I talk too much? What did I say? And he storms out of the room. He goes, "You're out of the class." And he storms out of the room. And I was looking at what happened. People were saying, "What happened?" And one guy, white, he was saying, "Well, you want to know what the problem was?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "You're not going to like it." I said, "What? What happened?" He goes, "Well, you talk like you're really smart." And he didn't like that. So that's what he said. I'm thinking, I'm looking at him like he's like freaking bozo. And I'm like, what? But he says, yeah, he says, he just reacts to how you talk. So basically, if you take what he told me to its logical conclusion, that dude would have probably tried to off me or something. He was that nutty. Okay. So my point is, getting back to Winston, there are some of us who are really, as black folks, okay, who are really, we all go through this pressure of being what somebody else black or even white or anybody else defines as black. And I think Jameis really succumbed to that pressure in a way that ostensibly hurt him. And I don't think there was anybody to say to him, hey, you know what? You don't have to be the black person other people want you to be your own man. That simple statement is very hard to achieve. And I remember there was another fellow came into our lives who he had two languages. He was great. He was a brilliant doctor, but he had two languages. He had the language of the street and he had the language of the office. I told him, and I was at Cal at the time. I said, I have one. I was 19 years old, 20 years old, heading into grad school, 21. I said, I have one language and you have to deal with me in that language. That's what I said to him. I could never fathom that. Okay. And the press hammers Jameis Winston for that vernacular. The press is older, white, and male for the most part. You don't find the white female reporters doing that. Like Jenna, I know Jenna Lang. And Jenna doesn't do that. I saw Jenna at the combine. Okay. Actually, I was sitting next to, I have a picture of us together. Jenna doesn't do that. And there are other reporters that get it, like Mike Silver, who's been my buddy since we were at Cal, and he was 18 and I was 21. And I walked into there. I got hammered on 32 ounces of Budweiser at the Bears Lair. True story.
I've been there.
Yeah, true story. And I went to their nuclear proliferation course. And I'm in the back of the room and I'm like raising my hand because the professor was saying all this kind of stupid stuff. And I knew about circular error probables, right? And I was like, no, that's not right because blah, blah, blah. They're like, who is this guy? And I was toasted. I just didn't care. So I'm sorry, but that was like, that was one of the funner moments of Cal. But anyway, but my point is, there's some people who can't handle the kind of guy that I am. And that's like tough. Okay. And the good thing about being alive today is there are a lot of dudes like me, dudes and women. It's not, but there's still that psychological issue. All right. And I think it's impacted how Jameis is as a person. But that said, that doesn't give the media an excuse to not be aware of what they're doing and make fun of him that way. So now similarly with Cam Newton, Cam, he has a style, he dresses a certain way, it's flamboyant, and it's of a way that Dr. Harry Edwards, if you've never heard of Dr. Harry Edwards, please look him up. Dr. Harry Edwards is a famous sports psychology professor. He actually arguably created the field at Cal. And he actually helped me on the Super Bowl. I actually went out. What happened was Jerry Brown, when Jerry was mayor, Jerry was trying to hijack my Super Bowl effort. And I heard that he was going to call Dr. Harry Edwards. He said that in a meeting with us. And so as soon as the meeting was over, I went out and I called Harry myself. I got Harry on my side because I didn't want Jerry screwing with my effort, right? So that was funny. I got to write a book. Dr. Edwards, though, was very much hep, if you will, to these social problems. He would say that the reason why we as African Americans are so demonstrative is because so often we're shut down. And so you hear that in Antonio Brown and in modern cases, and there are a number of examples. Billy White Shoes Johnson celebrations, and why subordinating celebrations for quite a while was considered a racist thing to do. Now celebrations are part of the NFL culture, right? But celebrations were a black thing, and still largely are. But now you have so many folks who are white who are inculcated like black that it's a beautiful hallmark of how integrated society has become, how people get each other. You know what I mean? But we still have those places in society that are there because, Jameis wanted to grow up a certain way. But again, the press held it against him. And so I've seen, and then same with Cam Newton. All right. They're both, Cam is from College Park, not too far from where we are. It's really, it's there are cultural differences and regions, if you will, and differences within the regions that are not fully discussed when it comes to sports. Like, for example, I can tell you that Aldon Smith, who's coming back, Aldon Smith, there are at least 5 different 49ers that came, brothers, who came to the Niners from the South. And some from small schools, some not, but they all experienced the same problem, being thrust into a Bay Area that's dominated by a white culture that really was born of a kind of white supremacist ideology that gave rise to the Sierra Club. Now, what do I mean? John Muir was a white supremacist. And in those days, like the idea that you were smarter, but the whole point was, and I'll make a point, it wasn't like the kind of white supremacy you would assume that's a KKK type. It was more like, hey, look, I'm smart and you're not, okay? And it's like, I know this, and I'm the leader of my domain and everything else. And that philosophy basically is a philosophy I unconsciously adopted in the Bay Area when I was 13, okay? But I wasn't aware of it. But how did it manifest itself? We started a Star Trek club. I was the captain of it. Our drafting teacher, Eugene Rockman, they made me the president. And myself and my buddy Blars, who got me an Elton John, who died last year. We were friends for 40 years, died in his sleep, unfortunately. Anyway, those guys, beautiful dudes, son's beautiful. I got to call his son, see how he's doing. Anyway, I remember I wanted to go a particular direction when I was president of the bike club, and Rockman said, we're the first black president. And Lars and Bill, both white, and Bill still has this huge deep voice. We had this lunch at the faculty club in Berkeley a few months ago. And Bill says, what does that have to do with anything? And Bill's like 16, 17, right? These are my buddies. You're not black enough. But when we moved to Oakland, it didn't matter. I could be Zenny. But Jameis, somewhere along the line, got the idea that talking smart was not a desirable thing. And now he's in a league where he's put in a position, quarterback, which is dominated by what? White guys who talk like I do, or I talk like them, right? Whatever. And a culture that still isn't quite used to a guy that's black who has the vernacular, who's a quarterback. I mean, let's just be honest, okay? And Jameis is not like a guy who's running. He's not like Lamar Jackson. You can't look at him and say, he does that black thing, he runs, okay? No. He's a field general. I'll talk about this with Warren Moon, another beautiful person, okay? And Warren tell you a lot of stories. So all of that factors in to what's happening with them. And I'm not defending everything they've done, but I will tell you that's something else. I was told that Jameis Winston's former agent, a guy I actually met at the Berkeley Law Symposium a few years ago, was the one. This is what I was told. I haven't called him yet, but I was told that he was the one that put Jameis in the car in Scottsdale with that Uber driver and said, you're here, you were in the NFL. He put him in there drunk. That's what my source claims. Okay. He put him in there drunk. Right. I don't know if I told this story before or not, but my point is, I feel like I have, but my point is that it's worth telling again, because, he's been treated, as my source told me, like crap by a lot of people. All right. And the athletic game, we only see parts of it. We see the flotsam and all that stuff, but we don't get the real story. And let's face it, we're dealing with people who in a lot of cases just have they have phys ed degrees. We're not talking about Tom Landry who had an engineering degree, right? Or you're not talking about that. But just being honest, you have people who come from backgrounds that are not where you would say they come from simple backgrounds, and they're thrust into these enormously high visibility positions very quickly at a very young age, and with no playbook. No playbook. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Joseph.
No, when you're talking about those individuals in charge of the players that don't have a PhD, would it be safe to say they're not intellectually inclined?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's like it's not considered among some circles to be to affect an intelligent presence. But see, for me, that was something I just grew up with. All right, and I think that's what he's dealing with. And like, for example, JB says, I have nothing against Cam. He should get a starting job. Jameis have a problem because he doesn't read defenses. And that's not true. I mean, a person who says that Jameis Winston doesn't read defense, I don't mean to offend you, but you don't know football. Okay? First of all, most people will say that and they don't even know what play he's running. They don't have the playbook to know it. I have Dirk Carter's playbook. I personally know Dirk. I've interviewed him a couple of times. I gave him a play. You have to know what play it is. And most people will assume, in order to fit their own prejudice, they'll assume the play is supposed to do a certain thing. And they're way wrong most of the time. I've never heard an announcer say, I don't know the play. 92.9 in the game, they'll do this. Like, they'll say, Jameis Winston doesn't throw a check down. But if you actually bother to look at the film and the plays, there's no check down to throw to. So, right? Because Mason's nodding with me in agreement. There's no check down to throw to. So what we're seeing at play is a guy who is really being hammered by the racism of his time. And again, he didn't get a lot of good advice. He had a lot of yes people around him. He was a star, like this fellow told me I was talking to. He was a star coming out of high school, was highly sought after. And they had him tracked from when he was in middle school. I mean, that's how far back the cacophony of voices around him went. And he didn't have the right agents. He didn't have the right people. He all along the way didn't get the right advice. He's too young to know better. Look, he's coming out. He's 17, and he's from this. How's he supposed to know better? I don't care if he's from north, south, east, west. I don't care if he's from Mars. He's too young. So, but it's a sad story in a lot of ways, but it has silver linings in that the guy is obviously talented. You cannot. And what got me
that.
I'm sorry. Yeah. And I'm sorry. You want to say, Mason? But
you can't dispute that he's not talented. That's for sure.
Yeah,
he's got all the talent in the world.
Yeah. And JB is like he can't read defense, and he says, and is not fast. That the two things that you need a quarterback when under pressure. Excuse me. Jameis throws the best passes when he's out of the pocket. And then Cam Newton, he knew three offenses. He learned three offenses in 3 consecutive years. Auburn, and then under Rod Chadinsky, his first year at Carolina, and then he had to learn another offense with Mike Shula. And he set a rookie season record for passing. I think it was 4,483 yards his first year. People, Mason knows this stuff.
Ultimate weapon, just medical now, unfortunately, throwing shoulder and
injuries,
everything else. But yes, he is the ultimate weapon, man.
Yeah,
ultimate weapon.
Yeah, the ultimate weapon, and it's like we got what's going on here. It's I see. That's what's going on. It's 2:28 in the morning. That happens. Well, I'll wrap up very soon. But and my dear mom is our audience, and so she's listening.
Well, I came up to check on Bitcoin when we were writing because of this virus that's going around.
Oh, Bitcoins? Oh, I have Coinbase, Mom.
Maybe true, the money system is going to change. You guys should be talking about that.
My mom was saying we should be talking about Bitcoin and the money system because I have.
It's going into Disney,
yeah.
All these companies, so
I gotta check I have Coinbase. I met this guy I was at this party as an aside, guys. I was at this party with Brian Parker was running for mayor of Oakland, and it was at this place called the Mars Bar. If you're ever in San Francisco, go to the Mars Bar. I hope the Mars Bar is still there. I had the greatest fun. There were all these tech parties and all this. Anyway, great pool, great chicken wings. Mom was like, no, Mom, they had the greatest chicken wings in San Francisco.
That sounds good. You're making me hungry right now.
Mason's like, it sounds good.
About the start of the barbecue or something.
But my point is, we started talking because Brian Armstrong knew a guy named Steven. Oh, come on, Zinni. Oh, Steve Huffman. Now you say, who's Steve Huffman? Steve Huffman is the co-founder of Reddit. Now, I interviewed Steve Huffman. It's on Zinni62 on YouTube. Steve Huffman is partners with Serena Williams' husband. So we started talking, and then Brian was telling me about Bitcoin, and he started Coinbase. He gave me Bitcoin. He gave it to me. He sent me like $5 worth of Bitcoin.
This new,
and I didn't do the right thing with it.
The new illness that they have, the coronavirus, is going to change the whole system, and people are going to be turning to diuretic or either Bitcoin.
Oh, the canard virus?
Yeah.
She was talking about the canard virus.
Because it's going to bankrupt so many things.
She says it's going to bankrupt. Well, yeah, it's like,
But it's something
pull your money out of the bank. Hurry up.
Smart people should get their minds around them and start working on this.
Yeah.
Digital money.
Cryptocurrency, Mom.
That and the other one is BIGERATTI.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. You guys have any cryptocurrency?
No, I don't.
I do not.
You gotta get some. Gotta get some.
Just tell them to start checking it out because
Hey, Joseph, leave us? Or do you just
No, I'm right here.
Okay, I'll be down, Mom. Okay. Hey, Mom, you want to say hi to my friends since you want to be on camera? You can see who. You won't be on camera.
Your friends, they found marvelous. I'm glad.
They're waving.
I'm
See, watch your step, Mom. You okay? Okay. Yeah, because I'm upstairs, and which gets to like this is not my bedroom. This is like an office. In fact, the hallway is there. You see that darkness in the back there? That's like that's the other side of the upstairs, and then this is an office. This is like that's a couch that could be a bed. Yeah. And then this is it, but this is not my bedroom. So somebody used to say, oh, he sleeps in his attic and all this stuff, and I'm like, dude,
Haters gonna hate.
Yeah,
Haters gonna hate.
You're.
Hey, by the way, I looked up Mars Bar, and they're still in business, and technically they're still open till 12 today.
Oh yeah, they used to be open until 2. Mars Bar. That's why I met Brian Camp. I've had a great life. Golly. And by the way, Mark Cantor, if you Google Mark Cantor, CANTER, and tell me what you are, MARC, Mark Cantor. What do you see?
I'm looking at it right now. Google Images or is Twitter?
Google.
Google Mark Cantor. I just get Twitter hits.
Oh, you get Twitter hits on Google?
Yeah.
Let me see here.
Weird. MARC and then Cantor, like Ernest Cantor, KANTR.
Yeah, hold on.
Yeah, I got So Bromian Twitter, emergency medicine doctor and educator, sports fan.
What you should get is Mark MARC in Google. Mark Cantor, American speaker.
I can Google that and do something.
Yeah. Okay. And it says Mark Cantor is an American internet entrepreneur, speaker, and technology evangelist, an early pioneer of online software. He's been called the Godfather of multimedia. Cantor is co-founder of Coca-Cola, a company that publishes a messaging application. I've known Mark for 15 years, and he is now on our advisory board.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So,
that'd be nice if one of his companies was a sponsor.
Yeah, Mark is a brilliant dude. He's a brilliant dude who walks his talk. and everything else. Oh, JB is saying Mason Rick says, JB, give me your top 5 picks for Ravens. JB says Swift, Taylor, Grant Deppett, DVJ Michigan, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Okay.
Donovan People-Jones, Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Mm-hmm.
Or DVJ? Is that Donovan?
DVJ, yeah. Michigan, yeah. So give me your top 5 picks for the Raiders, Joseph.
For the draft, top picks, I would go with Lamb at 19. I think I'm debating whether or not we should go for 2 offensive players or go with defensive player at 19.
I'm not debating. I think defense.
Defense, baby. You got to stop the Chiefs and the Chargers.
Yeah, the Raiders got torched last year. I mean, it wasn't funny. Was it one game they gave up 600 yards of total offense?
Yeah, it's been basically 3 of the worst years defensive history in the NFL.
Yeah.
At 19, I think if he's available, I would love to see Quinn from LSU.
I'd like to see them.
Quinn?
Oh, from LSU. Okay.
Queen?
Yeah. I'd like to see them.
Patrick Queen.
Yeah. I'd like to see them actually. I'd like to see them get because he'll be around. Whoops, excuse me. I think he'll be around by the time they get to him. But Javon Kinlaw. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Kinlaw. Kinlaw. And then I do like the pick of the safety, Xavier, down there for the rate when they were talking about. I mean, at first I thought, but then the more I looked at it, I thought the Raiders also need a run stopper who can cover. And we didn't like it. Oh, what happened?
Oh, no, I accidentally played my sound and I didn't know if it was echoing through the broadcast. So
it happens. I was like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, sorry.
Yesterday when we had our draft, I was going to mention to Mason, one of the reasons why, the idea of having Ruggs at 12 because he's a speedster, the reason why I wouldn't pull that trigger, not to say that they're not going to do that, right? But from my point of view, is I think in the past we've gotten in trouble by getting speedsters. One in particular is the Rocket Ishmael. He was
Rocket. Wait, but wait a minute. Hey, wait a minute. Point of information. Rocket Ishmael's agent was the late Ralph Grant. Ralph Grant was my mother's stepson-in-law. Yeah. So anyway, just saying, So.
Yeah, because I think just to give you that, it's not to say that it's going to happen. The same course is going to follow through with Ruggs, but with the Rocket, he was highly touted. He was a track and field star as well.
Yeah.
And I think the best year he had with the Raiders, I think it was only 493 yards.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But I don't think my point is. I would argue that. How a player performs in the pros also has much to do with family issues and society and region as anything else. So, yeah, I mean, it's always more complicated. Aldon Smith is a perfect example. Aldon there should be a playbook for Black players in the South coming to the Bay Area and to California, because if they're not instructed if there's no warm blanket of comfort for them socially, what happened to Aldon, what happened to Ray Foster, Reuben Foster with his bad girlfriend, those stories are numerous, because they get there and you get these women that see dollar signs and they've got their own playbook, and next thing you know, go off the track real quick. So.
And, the biggest problem in all of sports, not just football, is that when you have athletes like the ones you just mentioned, there's an extraordinary amount of time put into the playbook, but not into the playbook of life.
Right.
And that should be equal, because once you get off of that field, whether it's a basketball court, baseball field, or football field, you have to deal with life. If you're not properly prepared to deal with that,
but that's
like you are on
that's
the field, then you're
right.
going to run into problems.
That's the responsibility of the league. And
correct.
And what happens is that if you're going to take African American young boys becoming men from poor neighborhoods, let's just be honest, okay, for the most part, and then bringing them to areas they've never been before, and you don't have a way of introducing them and socializing them, then you're making the mistake. And not only that, they're your employees. And so the NFL is very fortunate that Congress hasn't stepped up and said, you know what, you need to do A, B, C, and D, because otherwise it's a certain type of exploitation that shouldn't be allowed. Dexter Manley went to Oklahoma. He came out, he didn't even know how to, I don't know if anyone's seen that story about him. He didn't know how to read. He came through college and into the NFL and did not know how to read. So today, that problem is less so. I can tell you the very year when I've covered the NFL draft since 2005, the year that Prince Mukamara was drafted, it was 2010, I believe. That year, some of the most brilliant brothers who were football players I've ever met came out that year in the league. Prince was one of them. Because prior to Prince, you talk to, dudes and you could tell they weren't quite, you could tell where they came from, all right? But these dudes were acculturated white, straight out, engineering majors, whipper smart. You could tell coaches didn't quite know what to do with them, and they talk about it. And those guys, now the guys, they have names like Larry Fitzgerald. They have, names. A lot of people that are household names who fit the category that I'm talking about, who are true leaders. Larry Fitzgerald's a man I look up to. Larry Fitzgerald's a man's man. He's straight up honorable dude. Really is. But there are people who come out, brothers who come out, who don't have that background. And the league has to, in my view, catch them. They try with the rookie symposium, but look, when you have Chris Carter basically berating people, it kind of like, that's when you knew the whole thing was going off the rails. It's like, you know what? Nothing against Chris. I'm just being honest, okay? The league has to be held responsible for how it develops its players or not. You can't just give them a lot of money and then expect them to be like, oh yeah, this is great. Yeah. Because it doesn't always turn out like that. Now, like I said, Jameis' problem is that Jameis was never told straight out it was okay to be smart and express it. And he was shut down. He figured out, in order to get along, don't question your coach. So the coach tells him a play that he knows isn't going to work, but he does it anyway. And what happens? Dirk Carter gets intercepted. And Dirk, God love him, Dirk is not exactly the dude that is going to design these plays where he actually thinks through the engineering of them. I'm just being honest with you. Okay. And this is something that I'm mindful I'm saying this on camera. I like Dirk as a person. But in terms of, and I said, you know what? I said something that I would love to see, space, emphasizing space. I told him he needs to talk to, I didn't say this like, oh, you need to talk to. It was a friend because I like him as a person. But I mentioned that he should look at Art Briles and what he did at Baylor. Now, forget Art Briles.
Scandal.
Right. But you know what I'm talking about, Mason? Speed in the...
Use the whole field.
Exactly. Use the whole field.
Horizontally.
Exactly. He was the master at that. And he understood space in football. A lot of coaches don't. If if Jameis could get a hold of a guy who did, I thought Bruce maybe was that guy. Bruce is not that guy. I started looking at it, I thought he's not that guy. He doesn't get it like Browse gets it. Because Arians put Jameis in a lot of bad situations. And it's too bad there isn't a Bill Walsh around. Jameis Winston just needs to be in a West Coast offense. That's it. He hasn't been in one. So it's like, and it's sad because if you put him in one of those offenses, somebody's going to walk home with a trophy. It will not be funny, But you put him in so let me get this straight. Bruce Arians is going to put Tom Brady in the same offense. He's going to expect him to march to the Super Bowl. Oh, I'm getting a headache. Anyway, hey, I got to ask you guys, what do you guys think? This is changing the subject. What do you guys think the chances are of the Texans winning the division this year? If there's football.
Houston Texans. We got Indianapolis and Tennessee to worry about. But the thing about that division is it's been so back and forth throughout the last few years. It's going to be hard replacing, I think, 70% of your target share, which Hopkins was responsible for, or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest issue, and the trust between the players and the coach has to be eroding quite a bit. You've seen a lot of cryptic tweets from Watson hinting at displeasure.
Yep.
So I wouldn't say necessarily very high, but with Deshaun Watson, anything is possible. I'll put it like that at the same time.
Andrew Rivers.
J. Watt's still respectable as all.
Andrew Rivers says Texans and Ravens AFC Championship of football. Really? So Andrew,
really?
That's what he said.
What?
You see that?
Well, that's definitely going out on a limb.
David Johnson coming back from about 4 years ago.
Well, isn't Deshaun Watson unhappy with the moves of getting rid of DeAndre Hopkins?
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, he's been hinting at it, and I don't know how he couldn't be. I mean,
that one tweet he put out was like, "Hey, I want out of here, man." That's how I read it.
Traded for like 4 running backs over the last 2.5 years or something. It's ridiculous.
Now, I don't understand why. I mean, the Texans have this history of picking coaches that are not. They don't always. They're like coach killers. They're good enough to get to the playoffs, but they're not good enough. They are to coaches what some players are to coaches. They're good enough to get you to the playoffs, but they're not good enough to win you the championship. I mean, I can't, going all the way back to when they brought in the man who, gotta look this up because it's
about the Texans.
Well, what I'm thinking about is the person, the Houston Texans coaching. John McClain would know this like the back of his hand. John McClain is a columnist with the Houston Texans and great reporter. But okay. Dom Capers. Going back to Dom Capers, the father.
Oh yeah.
One of the fathers of the zone blitz. Then Gary Kubiak, then Wade Phillips, and then Bill O'Brien. They've always had these fellows that were not quite good enough to get you, that championship. I mean, look, Gary Kubiak did finally do it with the Broncos. Give him his props there. But
I think Bill O'Brien has proven to be, like you said, a very capable coach to get to the playoffs. Hasn't necessarily proven it in the long run. I think where he's just really getting in trouble is acting as the de facto GM.
Yeah. And
there's really only one head coach that can do that really with success, and that's Bill Belichick. Even, a guy like Mike Holmgren struggled with that. He was a successful coach for a long time.
So did Bill Walsh when he was.
Yeah.
I remember I was around when that happened, and I think it drove Bill nuts. And there was way too much pressure. That year,
you gotta have that like the short term view of a coach, but you have to have the long term view as a GM.
yeah,
So it's a hard mix for a coach to kind of feel that. I feel.
yeah. I think that what you should have. I think that what the best model is what we saw with Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch. They were they're very much in tandem as people, right? And they're almost like one in a sense. And you want to have that camaraderie so that and in youthful, and that's the other thing. They're kind of like they're like football nerds, and junkies,
yeah, a better word,
junkies, yeah,
and for football and for other aspects of life, how they kind of approach,
yeah,
their laid back demeanor in a sense, and how they control a room. They both control a room without having to really truly assert themselves. It almost feels like they just kind of naturally hold court in a way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What are your thoughts, Joseph? And then we'll.
Well, we were talking about the longevity of coaches. Well, I was thinking about Andy Reid. How long did it take for him to actually get a Super Bowl win? And the other side of that coin is the length of time that the teams actually kept him as a head coach, because it could have easily been said that Andy Reid's time was over and they should have gotten a new coach. But patience was the key, I think, with Andy Reid, not only himself but with the team that had him as a coach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, yeah, definitely is. Bill O'Brien. Bill is Bill's a person Bill O'Brien is a person you want to like if you ever had the opportunity to meet him. So it's just unfortunately because the way the NFL designs. If the NFL designed its broadcast like it was XFL, I think you'd have a different view of a lot of people, but they don't. So you get rumors and actions and everything else. It is almost 3 here. I'm getting tired of. I'm about to fade out here, folks. You guys wanted to continue. I don't know, but how would I do that?
I might hop on and I might have to start a new video. I don't know if I have to do that, but I might hop on and maybe talk some more football. We got quite a 16 people watching. I might try to talk some football.
Oh, we got 16 people watching at this time of night. It's almost 3 o'clock in the morning in the East.
West Coast.
Hold on a second.
Started.
Hold on a second.
What city are you in, Mason?
Brentwood, California. And,
okay.
East Bay.
Yeah,
East
we're
Bay,
Wait, Mason, you weren't at that the now famous market, were you?
No, that was not in my Brentwood. I tell you, that was circulating. I'm telling you, there was no way that was in my Brentwood.
Oh, okay.
No way. I saw that. My people I went to college with in San Diego sent me that, trying to give me a bad time. And I was like, there's no one on the streets right now. There's no way there's a market. Everything's shut down, locked down.
Mason goes to Erewhon Markets, if you know what that is.
Erewhon. I don't know what that is. Educate me. What is the Erewhon?
It's like the bougiest market in California.
Oh, okay.
All the celebrities go
I
there.
don't know what that is. I've never heard of that.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
I'm a food for less guy. Shout out.
Hey, look, I'm an unabashed Whole Foods kind of person when I'm back in Oakland. Either Whole Foods or Safeway. So you want to call me bougie? Just call me Mr. Bougie. Hey, let's see your cat. Let's see your cat.
But yeah, if you look online, if anybody wants to look online, Erewhon Market, it is such a bougie place. I'm curious to go in there, but I hear like a little package of strawberries is $9.
Oh my God! So where do you shop, Joseph?
Oh, I shop. I just look for the bargains. I look at the sale ads and I'll go there.
That's the same way. I'm all about them deals.
Hey, let's see the cat again because we switched screens. Got switched on.
Yeah.
I think Joseph switched his screen. So, what's his name or her name?
Her name is Maya. She is a Savannah cat.
Hey, Maya.
She's an awesome cat. Yeah, she's an expert at fetching. She can go for hours.
Oh, Maya's
But
having.
yeah, so I might continue the chat. I don't know if
Yeah, go for it.
what you're doing, Joseph. If you want to keep going, maybe talk some more football. I could send you a link if you wanted to. We could do a chat. I don't know.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
Are you gonna do the? Are you guys
send
gonna
me
do
the
the?
link? And I'll jump on once I get my bags ready for my.
Are you gonna do the 2-camera thing, like
Awesome.
with YouTube and the window? Are you just gonna do the standard?
I'm gonna probably just try to use that StreamYard app and invite him through that, and then we can just talk kind of the same way.
Okay.
Give it a try.
Is this like another camera thing, or is it another like this, or is it what is it?
So,
or is it audio?
It's basically like your Jitsi app, but it films directly to YouTube Live.
Oh, is that right?
And I can send them a link just through Google browser, so you don't have to download anything. It's all through browser. It's pretty simple. I've been messing around with it.
Well, I want to make a note of this. This is good info. So what? Because I'm always looking. Like I hate. Is it open source?
I'm not 100% sure. I'm not into. I don't really know coding and all that other stuff. That's why I was kind of trying to ask you questions.
Oh, sure.
Best way I
Let me put it another way. Do you have
I could start a stream though right now and invite you if you just want to try. It'll be like up in 1 minute, literally.
Yeah. What? Yeah. Do you have to buy it though? Do you have to buy anything?
No.
Cool.
It's free for 20 hours of posting. I've already probably used maybe an hour, so I got 19 hours left.
Yeah. See what I like about Jitsi is this is free forever. It's like, and I can embed it.
That is very key.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I see that definitely being, yeah.
And then not only that, I can send people to my website, right? And then I can lock it out with a password so nobody just goes in and starts doing their thing unless they ask. And then I can charge, for others.
Exactly. So yeah, I don't know anything about all of that really.
But I'd like to try.
I can give you the information. You can mess around with it.
Yeah. Let's try it. I'm game. Let's.
You want me to try it real quick?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to start it up. I'm going to go to StreamYard.com. Okay, I'm going to create a broadcast. I'm logged in already. Title, it's going to show up on YouTube. Do NFL talk. Description. NFL talk. Public for the people. Creating now.
Should put NFL talk after dark.
All right.
That would be right. That would be accurate.
Should be able to.
So I have to download what app is it called?
1 second. It's called StreamYard. You can
StreamYard. Okay.
Wait, there's a way. Destinations. Here we go. Destination. I need to add our destination to our Zenny 62.
StreamYard. StreamYard?
Yes.
All one word?
Yeah, StreamYard.com. So I'm going to create the broadcast right now.
Oh, it's not an app.
Do it too.
StreamYard.com.
All right, it's about to start.
Okay.
On our channel, Zenny. I'm going to do. You want me to do it on Zenny 62 Media, correct? Or I can do it on mine.
Well, you say Zenny 62 Media. Yeah, do it on yours, and then I'll do it on. Yeah. That way I can maintain some ownership of my name. I'm just kidding. But the whole point
sorry about that.
I want you to take ownership of it in case it screws up. That's what I'm trying to say.
No, yeah, 100%.
I'm joking.
Fine.
I'm joking.
Recreate it then.
Oh, I get this. StreamYard is a live streaming studio in your browser. Interview guests, share your screen, and much more. Stream directly to Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, or other platforms. This is like Zoom, in a sense. But okay.
In a sense. So, to all the live chat users, I guess I can. Let me chat in my channel here real quick, so they can chime in. YouTube. Sorry about this, guys. Trying to do this on the fly. channel.
So I can start the stream, but it's a live stream on YouTube too.
Yes.
I gotta
And
see
you
this.
can do it free.
Huh.
I'm just gonna start the stream and get it going and send it to you guys. And
Okay.
then, so what I do is I just hit invite users.
This could come in
And
handy.
I have to text it. I'll text it to you guys. Sorry, hold on. I'll type it in my. I'm gonna type it in the group chat.
Okay.
Aged.
You mean on the group chat on here or a group chat on messages?
Text, excuse me.
You mean the text? Okay, I'm ready.
Yeah, on
All right.
my phone. Yeah, StreamYard.com. Like I said, you don't have to download anything. You just have to open the link.
Oh, I see StreamYard, right? I think I got it.
Okay.
Right.
No, that's old. Because I was going to do that earlier.
Okay.
I closed it. But
Okay.
I just didn't know.
Oh, okay.
I think this should work.
Someone got a haircut.
Yes. Corona Cat, as they like to refer to. Okay, so I just sent it. It should work.
Yeah, it says browser page. So I just click on it, right? It says 404. Whoops, there's nothing here. Go to the home page. Yeah, we're almost wrapping up.
Doesn't work, really?
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, it says 404. Whoops, there's nothing here.
Yeah.
Okay, HTT. Let me just type it. TS. Gosh. Talk this up, and now I can't get it to work. It's embarrassing. StreamYard.
Let's try it tomorrow because it's 3:01 here.
That's fine. No worries. Like I said, no worries.
But you guys are welcome to start up another, stream, live stream,
Yeah.
and continue the discussion. So I will
Doesn't
say,
work, and I don't know. Yeah.
Say, hey folks, good night. It's 3:01 in the East, and a fun talk, a memory lane for me. Always a memory lane. You get to a certain point in life, everything's memory lane. Well, not everything. I'm not at that point. I hope to be. Count your blessings, folks, because I say that because my buddy Lars passed away at 55 a year ago, come April 18th, and in his sleep, 3 months after Lars Frickman, 3 months after his dad passed. So if you want to find out, get a taste of what Lars was like, type Bill Lars Zinni in Star Trek in Google. You'll see the video. We watched J.J. Abrams' Star Trek because that was our sort of reunion. Anyway,
that was back in 2009. That was a great film.
Yeah. All right, guys, gentlemen, I'm gonna sign off here.
All right, I'll start a new live stream in about 5 minutes, guys. Joseph, if you want to call me,
hey, thanks. Well, they're gonna start up again. I'm headed to bed. Thanks.
I'm on the new chat if you want to look.
He's on the new chat. Okay. I'm looked out. I'm gonna go to
bed. Oh, where I closed
Thanks,
it down.
Everybody. We'll see you.
Okay.
Closed it down. I didn't know.
No, it's all right. Just text me